Alright, so today we're going to be talking about Phobie reworks. This is just going to be a suggestion. I feel like some phobies are a bit boring, so I thought we'd make them more interesting. Now, I know this is another series. I haven't even done a second episode of Phobies analyses, but honestly, that might take a while. I haven't really found any other phobies that I think are particularly complex or I have a strategy for that is really interesting. But yeah, so this one is going to mostly be on variants, but I found some normal phobies for today's part, just to see if that'll spice things up for a bit. So today we'll be making rework suggestions for Hematic Ginsting, Quagmire, Motherload, and Baby Snakey. By the way, Hematic Ginsting is the only variant out of all of these, just so you know. I'll be talking about a few ways that they could be reworked to be more compelling, and overall just give some tidbits on what I find to be a good phobias design. Also, I don't mention this, but I feel like every phobia should have an ability. I feel like some phobies don't need it. Like Cerberus, I feel like Cerberus is already fine by himself. He's just a juggernaut, that's about it. And I feel like Undead already gives him a lot of character. But some phobies just have a neat design, but don't have an ability. And that's most of these guys. As you can see, Quagmire and Baby Snakey don't have an ability, but these two do. But yeah. Anyway, let's talk about Hematic Ginsting. Now, in-game, Hematic Ginsting is just a 6-cut version of Ginsting, and it basically just has higher stats. Nothing else has changed, so let's make it more interesting. Now, Hematic is an adjective and means something that's related to blood. So I think the first obvious rework is to have him suck blood by giving him lifesteal and maybe lowering the stats. And I think whether his ability would have that, his basic attack would have that, or a passive just granting both of those would have it is a bit iffy. Um, I like the idea of it only being on the ability because it gives some lore. Like it's like the bees are sucking the blood out of you now. I think that's kind of cool. The second version is to make Hematic Ginsting being made out of blood. Now this turns him into this really weird. Um, he's a ranged unit, but also he I don't know. I feel like this one's a bit weird. I think it'll be really difficult to use, but basically it'll make him if you guys know Gargled, it basically turns him invulnerable and he can't move 3 turns. Um but I think it's good to make the duration 1 turn, and also it'd be like a trap where sorry. There's a duration. It's only 1 turn, and it'd also be like a trap, but it doesn't tell the opponent that you're using the ability. I think that could be really cool for some really like neat outplays, but also it gives them a lot of relative safety. I don't know what role he'd be classified as. That's what I was struggling with earlier. But I think he's just like a ranged unit with a safe space, really. And then also, if you add on a 50% damage fall off 1 tile AoE to his passive, so that way you only need 1 ability. And I don't think you really need to upgrade his stats. I honestly think that keeping it the same would still make him super powerful, especially since every attack that he has is basically the same as his normal ability. I think that's really cool. So basically, he just turns into this like huge threat that can also just as soon as you know that the opponent's trying to approach you, you can just turn yourself off. I think that's really cool. Now, next we're going to be talking about Quagmire. I honestly really like Quagmire. It's actually one of my MVP phobies in my profile. But I think my main problem is that it's too similar to Alligator. Now, you could say that Alligator should be the one without self-sustain or like any passive healing, but I think Quagmire is a bit more interesting in its design, so I'm okay with just giving Quagmire the role. Now, they're both tanks with passive self healing. They'll heal themselves by like 300. Quagmire is he's cheaper, so his stats are worse, and that's literally it. That's the only difference. Now what I wanted to do is that I wanted to keep his role consistent as a super strong tank. I mean, not super strong, but like super endurance based, but not really focused on his strength. I mean, it kind of just follows Quagmire pretty well. But also I wanted to make it more compelling. So what I decided to do is that you turn his passive heal into a self-heal ability. Now, I don't think it should have cooldown, but basically what it forces you to do is that you have to use an action to heal yourself. Now, there are 2 ways to go about this change because it's obviously a nerf. either you give the ability more healing, like maybe 700. I think 700 is a bit too much, frankly, because I sometimes I think he just soaks up damage. That's just kind of his thing. But I think something like maybe 400 or 500 would be really nice. Or just give him more stats, give him more attack and HP. I feel like HP is better. Maybe like 3000 HP. Maybe lower the attack by like to maybe 200. Now, the reason I mentioned this is because Quagmire is super brain dead. I think at least with Alligator, you're putting a lot of resources in on small maps. Alligator and Quagmire are both super brain dead on big maps, but at least on small maps, Alligator is like this sort of investment that you have. But I think it'd make Quagmire a lot more thought-inducing if you had to use an action to just heal up. There is another way to go about this, which is to like give him poison. That would be kind of cool. I think that if you like got rid of his passive healing and gave him poison instead, he'd be pretty cool. But I don't know how I feel about it. I think the passive heal is kind of his entire thing. So I'm going with the first one more than the second one, but I think the second one is still kind of cool. It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. Now, next we're going to be talking about the Motherload. Now, the Motherload is a 7 cost Phobie. It's kind of interesting, but honestly, I think it falls apart really fast. It basically has an AoE ability that shoots two tiles around it. It's on a fairly short cooldown. It's on a 1 turn cooldown. So, after you use it, you'll have to wait another turn, and then the next turn you can use it. So it's actually 2 turns, kind of. It's kind of hard to explain. But basically, yeah, when you say when it's a 1 turn cooldown, it basically means that after you use it, it's gone. Then it'll go into 1 turn. It'll be a 1 turn cool 1 turn. Okay, let me explain. You use it next turn, it'll be on a 1 turn cooldown. Next turn, it'll be gone, and you can use it again. So it's technically like a 2 turn. So like whatever. Um, I feel like the problem with Motherload is that its ability is very similar to its basic attack in terms of damage, so it never really feels worth it. Like, why not just use if you're hitting someone from 2 tiles away, why not just use that instead of the ability? There's no reason to. In fact, it does 50% damage fall off, so it only deals like 250. Um, so yeah, it kind of sucks. So my suggestion would be either to make it a cheaper Phobie, or to just focus more on its damage with its ability. I like the concept of it being a lower cost Phobie. I feel like the model doesn't really match it though, but I really like the concept because you're dishing out like a crap ton of damage, but across like maybe 3 phobies. I feel like that's kind of weird. But because of how many choke points there are, I feel like this actually won't happen that often. That's why Motherload is actually kind of bad right now. I feel like it doesn't really have what it needs to hit multiple targets at once, unless you have like a Gravedigger, which in which case is super niche. But yeah, I think it needs to be a lot less tankier, and then like maybe reduce the ability a bit, but it'll just be dealing a lot of chip damage, and it'll be like this like kind of prioritized threat, but it can be shot down pretty easily, kind of like Jar Cannon. But I could also see him keeping his cost and it to just have like less HP maybe, and giving him more focus on his ability. I think that I would really love that. Honestly, if we were to buff him right now, I think I'd rather just give him a rework. I think if I keep saying him and it. I'm sorry. I I keep changing between the two, but you get the idea. I think the damage fall off was the worst part. I think it'd be cool without the damage fall off, honestly. Yeah. So lastly, we got Baby Snakey. Now, I like the design. It's probably the only thing I like about Baby Snakey. It has some cool ass design. It's like it doesn't even make that much sense to me. Like it's like it's not a cobra. Is it a cobra? No. It's like the ones with like the ear flaps. I don't know what it's called. I'm sorry. But basically it's a snake with this little rattler at the end at the tail, and I think that's really sick. However, I think it's kind of a shame that he doesn't use the rattler as like an AoE pool, That would be so fucking cool. It's actually insane how cool that would be. So my first suggestion would be to make him more expensive. Then give him like a 2 tile like AoE pool. Basically, this would allow you to be a lot more aggressive. Also, it shuts down stalemates. We need more abilities that shut down stalemates. We literally have nothing for that right now. We have nothing. I am just saying. AoE pools is the coolest shit ever. The only AoE pool is fucking Akira. We don't talk about Akira. You know why? Because no one fucking has him. No one fucking has Akira. So like no one talks about it. I think that's the only one with an AoE pool. I might look like an idiot right now, but I'm swear I don't think there's any other phobies with an AoE pool. I don't know. If there's one, tell me in the comments. I'll search it up. I'll cry myself to sleep because I didn't think about it. But yeah, I think probably make it so that the enemies can't fall into the abyss. I know that's kind of like the pull thing, but like that's not really the intention here. You're like luring them into you. You're not luring them into the goddamn void. So I feel like it's a bit cheeky for it to do that. It also might be a bit busted because you can set up some really weird plays on like one of the maps. I don't know. I think another concept would be to just turn phobies into babies, but like instead of actually making a model for every single phobie, I'd say maybe just like making them weaker or preventing movement. I think that would be really cool. Either way, I think he should be more expensive. He really doesn't feel like a 3 cost sometimes. He really looks like a 4 to 5 cost, maybe even a 6 cost. If you told me 7 cost, it'd be a bit of a stretch, but I mean, I'll take it. But I mean, I think preventing movement is also really cool. I think overall, Baby Snakey should just have this ability to lure in opponents, kind of as a support, but also be able to dish out damage on his own. And I feel like he doesn't really have that right now. Because what does it have? God damn it, I said it again. I keep swapping between the two. Yes, whatever. And what does it have? It has the ability to deal damage sometimes. Like, god damn it, dude. It's like, man, I really wish I had Baby Snakey. I think he's a super good generalist, but I feel like he's kind of boring right now. So, yeah. Um, I understand if you think that these phobias shouldn't be changed. I think some people have a soft spot for really anything, but I don't know why you like Motherload. I really don't. But with anyone else, I understand. So, I hope everyone has had a nice day. If not, I hope you have a good day from here on out. If you want to have a better day, maybe look at some of my videos. I'm just kidding. They'll make you feel so much worse. If you've watched more than 2 of them and you haven't been diagnosed with depression, check with your psychiatrist. Have a good day. God damn it, where's the